how to set up a website with BlueHost. We have a lot to cover tonight. I'm going to let everybody kind of come in the door for a few minutes, let you guys get settled. Tell me that you're here. Tell me if you have a website or if you're looking to start a website. Where do you fit in this range of things? Because we're going to go over a lot of different things today. We're going to talk about how to pick a name. We're going to talk about hosting and what that means and how to get set up with BlueHost. We're going to talk about how to do early stage design and really get started. And then we're going to talk about the difference between like a blog site and like a freelancing VA freelance writing site. And we're going to actually show a little bit of a mock-up of both of those things. So as you're coming in, comment, tell me where you stand with your blog development and where you're coming in from or why you're tuning in tonight. Okay. So Alyssa says here, and I have a website. Alyssa, awesome. That's fantastic. Hopefully you see some tips and tricks today to help you kind of optimize your site. But we're really going to start at the beginning. So the first thing I want to talk about is that there's a lot of different philosophies about blogging in particular and starting an online business. And one of the things that I want you to think about first, before we even get to setting up the site, is what's your goal? Like, is this a hobby where, if you make some money at some point, that's awesome? Is it just a passion project? Is it you really want to have a business? And you just need to get started. You need to get set up. Alyssa says she has a website, but not a blog. So Alyssa, tell me what you do. Do you sell physical products, digital products? What type of website do you have? Pamela says, I haven't started yet, but I'm starting to plan. That's awesome, awesome, awesome. So what I want you to think about is what your goals are, right? Is this a hobby? Is this a fledgling business? And then I want you to set some good goals, okay, about how long you want to stick to testing this all out. Because the reality is, blogging in particular is super fun. Once again, like I'm drinking ginger ale because I've been feeling a little off today and it's giving me the hiccups. Okay, so at the beginning, it's super exciting. You want to write like every day. Your blog is amazing. You're trying to fit it into all the little pockets of time in your day. And then it starts to wane off, right? You're like, oh, that money just hasn't started rolling in yet. Like, I don't know what's going on. And so then you kind of like lose some steam, and then it's hard to get through that beginning stage. And so when I say, what do you want to do? I would set a goal. If this is a hobby, well, blog when you want to blog and take the pressure off. If it's something that you really want to be a business, I want you to say, okay, I'm going to do this for 6 months. I want all new bloggers to commit to at least 6 months. The majority of bloggers quit in the first 6 months, many in the first 3 months. And the reason is they do too much at the beginning. They have too much sights of perfection and these expectations of what's going to happen. And they look at mega huge bloggers that are making 6-7 figures and they think they're going to get there really fast, right? And so there's this push and pull of, do I really want to do this? Is this a place? Is this what I want to do? And so what I want you to do is I want you to set a goal for 6 months and decide how much you're going to write. Maybe that's once a week. Maybe that's once every other week if you're, a busy mom and you don't have a lot of time. And so set your goal and then just start writing and make the choices about how much you're going to invest, who your avatar is, who you're writing to, what your voice is after 6 months. Somebody says, I will commit for 6 months. I absolutely love it. Okay. There's a lot of things. You're going to go out, you can read, you can download incredible resources. You can sign up for courses that are going to tell you like, decide on who your avatar is. So for those of you who aren't familiar, your avatar is like your core customer. You're supposed to imagine a particular person, what are their problems? What does their life look like? How many kids do they have? What color hair do they have? So you can write to that person specifically and then really hone into connecting with that core person. And there will be other people that listen to you. But the idea is that there's thousands and thousands of your avatar out there. And if you speak to them particularly, you'll hear from them. This is a really scary thing when you're first starting a blog. And the reason I want to talk about it is because I know that some people Google how to start a blog, how to build a profitable blog. And that's the type of stuff that comes up. And you're like, I'm not even quite sure what I want to write about yet. And I don't know what my voice is. And I don't know what my goal is. And so sometimes you just have to get started. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about picking a name. We're going to talk about getting hosting set up. And we're going to talk about really just getting started. So Alyssa says, my website has a place for blogging. Haven't used it too much yet. She's a parent coach for moms and families who sell bootcamp courses and clinics. That's awesome. Fantastic. So there's a lot of different things you can do. First off, 2 things you should know. One, We're going to talk about blogging and freelancing site today. If you primarily want to sell physical products or digital products, like the main point of your site is going to be to sell things and you will occasionally blog, I would not use this setup. I would use something called Shopify. I'm going to drop the link in the comments here for everybody. But the reason is Shopify is more set up as an e-commerce site. It has a lot more powerful resources to help you sell effectively, and then kind of have a blog as an SEO option on the side. There's less for real blogging and customization and site customization, but it works really well for selling. If your goal is to have a blog or have an online platform where you have a podcast or you do some freelancing or you sell courses and digital products like we do at Smart Money Mamas, a WordPress blog is really where you want to start. You're going to have a lot of customization available, and then you can add on other things over time. So for us, like if you went to Smart Money Mamas and you hit shop, you would be taken to our Shopify shop, which is just linked to our WordPress site, but the majority of our stuff lives on our WordPress site because it's more flexible. Okay. Somebody says, and I'm going to save questions as much as possible towards the end because we have a lot to go over tonight. But I do want to cover this because I said we're going to talk about freelancers. Alyssa says, what makes people pay for what you write? This is a great question. Okay. And so a couple of different things. Let's talk about for a moment how freelance writers make money, and then how bloggers make money, right? And so when we talk about freelance writers, there's some people who get paid for personal stories, who are really incredible, engaging writers who have really amazing family stories and things like that, that they get paid to just write like lifestyle type articles. Those people don't tend to get paid as well, and they're not as in high demand. Any type of like specialized research writing you can do, the more you're going to get paid and the more demand there is for it. So we can talk about personal finance in particular because this is Smart Money Mamas, and you don't need to be an expert. There's actually a ton of very successful freelance personal finance writers who don't have a finance background. They've just done more and more articles in that space, and they've built knowledge and they've built a portfolio in that space and proven that they can research effectively and find sources effectively, and people are willing to pay to get that content written. If it's on your blog, there's a lot of different ways you can make money, okay? You can make money through display ads, which is you need a lot of traffic for. People need to be coming to your site to see all those ads on your site, right? There's affiliate marketing where you get paid for referring people to a product or a course or a resource. There's selling your own products or your own courses, right? Like we sell our Family Emergency Binder, which is a digital product. We have the Motivated Mama Society, which is our monthly membership. We have the Summit, which is an online event. So we do a lot of different things that you could bring income. And so people don't necessarily pay for my writing. When I write on the blog or I speak on the podcast, that's always free content. What they pay for is the transformation. And so when you think about building a blog as a business, you have to figure out where are people and where do you want to get them to go? And we're going to cover again for a second because now I've gone too deep, too fast, right? We talked about how you're just going to write for 6 months and you're going to try to find your voice and you're going to practice writing and you're going to get better. And those first couple articles that you publish, you're going to look back on in 6 months and you're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe I put that out to the public. That's part of it. That's part of learning how to write. There's stuff I wrote 6 months ago, even though I've been doing this for years now, that I'm like, oh my God, I would have changed things, right? That's part of development. But once you get to the point that you've kind of found your voice and you've kind of found your purpose, and maybe you already know your purpose, maybe that's why you're starting your blog, you want to think about where are you finding people? What problem do people have? And how do you help them solve it? Right. So Becky from Clean Mama, who was just on the podcast 2 weeks ago, she helps people to take cleaning from this overwhelming thing that takes over their whole weekend and their house always feels cluttered to a simple thing they can do once a day for just a few minutes that gets their house continually and consistently clean. That might not seem something that you could write about every week, but she's been doing it for years and it has helped her build this huge multi-six-figure business, right? For me, I focus on moms who are tired of feeling powerless with money, whose life is mostly fine. It's not like super stressful or overwhelming or terrible, but it's just fine. And that they're sick of fine and they want to get to a place where they're affording the life that they really love and that money isn't stressful and that they're doing the things they want to do and being the parents they want to be, right? That's the transformation I want to bring people through. And so you always keep that transformation in your mind. And if you can get that transformation, you can figure out what products you're going to sell. what resources you're going to sell, what you're going to talk about on your podcast or your YouTube channel or your blog. And then that's going to make it easier to make money, right? Because you're connecting with people and you're making a difference in their lives. When you're just writing for entertainment value, it gets a lot harder and it's not really as easy to make a business. Now you could do things like display ads, and you could do things like Patreon accounts, which is like when people pay you just to read your content and support you. But those are harder, and the ability to scale is a lot different. So let's start at the beginning here, okay? And so the first thing first, how do we pick a name? This is a question we get constantly when it comes to blogging. What if my name is already taken? What do I name my blog? I'm really stuck. I've wanted to start a blog for 2 years, but I can't decide what to call it. What do I do? Okay, first off, if your blog's name is taken, it's not your blog's name. That's it. Somebody else owns it. You could go try to buy it. Most of the time, that's not going to work. It's going to be really expensive, and it's probably not worth it. There's other names out there. There's other names available. And so what you want to do is, the first thing I would recommend is come up with all kinds of adjectives related to what you want to talk about, right? Who you talk about, what you do, what transformation you're doing, right? And then like maybe some descriptive words of who your audience is. So for us, we're smart money mamas. We talk about money. We in touch with women who view themselves as intelligent and motivated and hardworking. And we talk to moms, right? And so smart money mamas. You want to keep it short and you want to keep it easy to spell. Okay, so things that are made up words, things that are clever, that aren't necessarily clear of what your blog's name is, that's going to be a lot harder to sell and a lot harder for people to remember, right? And so one of the things that I love about a naming rule, and this actually comes from the creators of a course called Pocket Products, they talk about, does it pass the gossip test? So imagine that you're whispering to someone, if you could get close enough to whisper to someone in 2020, the name of your site. Is it something that sparks some interest, and is it easy to say and remember? And so for us, Smart Money Mamas. Now, the original name of our site was Mama Fish Saves. That didn't work, right? It really wasn't. What does that mean? Why? What is that site about? It makes no sense. Smart Money Mama is much more clear. So you can change down the road. That is something to remember, that even if you pick something that you don't like, you can change. It's hard, but so come up with those adjectives, come up with those descriptor words, and combine them in a bunch of different ways. Like literally try to come up with 20 plus different ways, if you can, that you would create these names, narrow them down to your favorites, and then we're going to do something. So now I'm going to share screen, okay? And let's see if we can do this in a way that makes sense. Okay. So this is a tool called namechecker.com. I'm going to drop the link in the comments. Okay. Jasmine says, Chelsea, thanks for being such a great resource and breaking things down. I will need to catch the replay. Well, I hope you enjoy the replay later, Jasmine. Anita says, I actually have my husband listening with me. So ready. Amazing. Okay. So I just dropped the link for Name Checker, all right? And so this site is a site that is going to help you pull exactly what is available all across the web. So we're going to do a mock-up today. We're going to practice, right? So let's say we're doing Magnificent Mamas. Magnificent Mamas. And we hit Enter, okay? And now this thing is whirring and it's going to check everything that's available, all right? And so we can immediately see that the .com, the .net, the .org, the .io, none of these domains are available. The Facebook isn't available. The Twitter has this little warning, which I can't click because of my Pinterest plugin, but it basically says that it's too long to be a Twitter name. Pinterest isn't available and YouTube is available. Okay, so we're like 1 out of 8 here, right? We don't have what we need. So let's try something else. What if we did Mortified Mamas? Which often with toddler boys is more how I'm feeling. Okay. So now we have .com. Ideally, we always want the .com if we can get the .com. It's just easier for people to remember. Then you can just say the name and people will assume the .com. If it's .co, .net, .org, you're going to have to make it explicit. And that's not always easy, especially when you're just getting started. But so if you want the .com, it's available. Facebook's available, YouTube's available, Pinterest is available, Twitter is not available. And so in this case, I would probably search a couple other things and see if I could get Twitter. But if you got almost everything, right? We have almost all the social profiles here. And you could make a decision. You could say like, okay, Twitter actually isn't all that important to me. I don't think my audience is on Twitter. I don't use Twitter. So I'm going to get this domain, Mortified Mamas, and then I'm going to go claim all of the social profiles that are relevant to it. Okay. And I want you to do this right away. Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and Twitter if they have. And those are the core ones I'd grab first. And the reason for this is there's some people who will try to have different versions of names, right? Their name will be too long for Twitter or too long for Instagram. Instagram's not actually on here, but usually you can check it pretty easily. Okay, so you have to figure out what you, the .io, oh, the .io is taken. I'm ignoring the .io. That's hilarious that that's taken. Okay, so you want to grab all these things because some people will change the name. So it won't be available on one platform, so they'll shorten it. And that gets really, really hard for people to know where to follow you. And so when I go on a podcast, when I go on a guest post or go write a guest post or I go on a YouTube channel, I can very easily say, follow me at Smart Money Mamas on all social platforms. And they could go to whatever social platform that you need and put in Smart Money Mamas, and it's there. You're easy to follow. If you have to go, I'm Smart Money Mamas on Instagram, but Smart Mama Money on Twitter, and you have to think it through, it gets really hard. Somebody says it's hard to find a good name that's available on Twitter, and I want Twitter. Maybe that means you search that first and that you have to go through more names. If you want Twitter, if Twitter is going to be a primary part of your website and your business, then you have to find something that matches on Twitter, okay? And I know that's hard. I know there's a ton of Twitter users. There's a lot of different Twitter names. But if you want Twitter to be part of your website, I'd make sure that they match. The only exception to that would be if maybe you were a personal brand, and so you wanted your social media platforms to be your name, and then you wanted your website to be a different name. That would still cause a little bit of confusion, but it would be one way to get around the problem. But I try to find something that matches, okay? So then we have Mortified Mamas. Let's say for this example, tonight, when we do this whole walkthrough, we're going to use Mortified Mamas. Now, what you need is two things to get started. You need to own your domain name, and you need hosting. And hosting is who actually manages the web traffic and gives you a little piece of real estate on the web so people can come and see your content, see your site, right? There's a lot of different hosts. There's a lot of different ways to buy domains. You want a domain that, especially at the beginning, is super easy to use, has good support, and good pricing. Now, my recommendation for all beginner bloggers is BlueHost. That's where I started. That's where almost everyone I know started. Do I use BlueHost now? I don't. And I want to be honest about that. I don't. But the reason is the site has grown to a place and the way we use web traffic has changed to a point where shared hosting, which is what BlueHost does, is multiple people use the same server, doesn't work for us anymore, especially with Mamas Talk Money. That made us change hosts when we had so many people, thousands of people, tens of thousands of people signing into the site at the same time. Something like shared hosting just doesn't work. But if you're a new blogger, and even as you get to pretty big scale, we're talking 50, 60,000, viewers a month, you can be on BlueHost and have amazing support, amazing, easy to use platform. And we like them a lot. So we're going to go to BlueHost, right? And we're going to, now this is the Smart Money Mamas page, okay? So with Smart Money Mamas or with Mamas Talk Money, you get a discounted price of $295 a month for hosting, okay? And so that includes your first full year of your domain name and your hosting. So you don't have to pay extra for your domain name. Let me drop the BlueHost link here in the chat for you guys, okay? You're going to come here and you're going to get your hosting. You're going to put in your domain name. It's going to tell you if it's available. And then we're going to check out. So let me show you how we check out. And guys, can you tell me, can anybody watching on Facebook tell me if you guys are seeing the link drops on Facebook as well? I can see that they're popping up on Instagram, but I can't tell if they're popping up on Facebook, and I want to make sure that you're getting them. I will put them in the description of this video when we're done, but I want to make sure it's there, okay? And to the Facebook user who has a question about self-doubt, we are absolutely going to talk about that. But let's get the site set up, and then we'll talk about that, okay? So let's hit get started. All right. Now we have a couple of options here. All right. We have basic, which is $295 a month. We have plus, which is $545 a month. Choice plus, which is the same price. And then pro. Okay. There's a lot of these description things that you don't actually need, right? So unlimited domains, unlimited park domains, unlimited subdomains. You don't need this as a new blogger, okay? Somebody says they can't see the links. Lauren, can you do me a favor and be dropping the links over there? I'm going to drop them in Slack for you so you've got everything. And then you can drop them when I'm dropping them. Here we go. All right. So we have a bunch of these things. You don't actually need any of this upper stuff. And the one thing you might need from Choice Plus is domain privacy and protection. You guys can't see part of that because it's Here you go. Domain privacy and protection. This just means that it takes like your name and address and stuff off the domain registration so that people can't like figure out who owns the site and like have your home address. And we don't want that. That's privacy. But what I can tell you is you don't actually need to pay $5.45 a month for that. There's a way to add that for 99 cents a month on basic. Okay. So, guys, Lauren is on link dropping in just a second. So here's what we're going to do. We had somebody earlier ask, can you transfer a domain you already own? Yes. If you bought a domain on GoDaddy, if you bought a domain on Namecheap, you can absolutely change it over. So what you would do if you did that is you just enter your domain here, you'd hit next, and it would walk you through how to move your name servers over to BlueHost from whoever is currently has them. But we're not doing that, right? We're doing Mortified Mamas, which is hilarious. And we're going to hit next. We're literally doing this in real time. So you guys could see how long this is going to take to do it. Okay. So somebody says, can't see the links once you shared screen. It all went fuzzy. Is it fuzzy for everybody else? Looks okay on my end. All right. So here's all, you're going to enter all your account information. You're going to choose your package, right? So you can do 12 months, which is going to be a little bit more expensive. The longer your term, the cheaper it is. 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. This is up to you on how much you want to do, right? If you want to commit to blogging for 3 years, you think this is something you're really going to do, you can save some money by doing 3 years. But it's also an incredible price at $5 a month. To start a business, to start a hobby for $5 a month is really great as well. So you can choose whatever you want to do, okay? And then you're going to come down here and there's going to be some added protection things. You don't need any of this except for domain privacy and protection. I would always keep this just because I don't want your personal information being sent out there. And for less than $12 a month or $12 a year, that's fantastic. Okay. So what I'm going to do for a second is I'm going to take this screen off because I'm going to have to put in all my personal information. So hold on a second. I'm going to have to put in all my personal information to register this site because I'm actually registering this site live so you guys can see exactly what happens when you register because I want you to be able to watch this video and do it side by side. So hold on. I'm literally filling in my information as I'm talking to you. Somebody says no fuzziness. That's great news. Putting in my credit card number. Hope I've taken this off the screen. I'm pretty sure I have. All right. I agree. The only thing I had to do at the bottom here is click a box that says I have read and agreed to BlueHost's auto renewal terms, service, and cancellation policy. You have a 30-day cancellation policy with BlueHost. So if you get started, you don't like it, you can cancel. Now, I have had to cancel when I switched hosts to go to a bigger host, like a year and a half into my blog, which was fast. And that was because of a certain promotion we were doing, but don't worry about that. When I had to switch, I still had time on my policy or my plan, and they were willing to refund what was remaining of my plan. And so that's good to know as well. Okay, so let's just hold on a second. I want to make sure. I want to show you guys this part, but I want to take my like home address off of it. Not that I don't trust you guys, but just so everybody's safe. Okay, so here we go. Show and stream. We're back. Okay, cool. So success. We're in. We're doing it. So now we're going to hit create your new account. It's going to tell us our domain name, Mortified Mamas. We're going to own Mortified Mamas, which is kind of hilarious. Now we have to create a password. Now I use LastPass, so I'm going to click this little lock thing and I'm going to create a password. It's going to make sure that it's a strong password. Not now. And then we're going to agree to the privacy policy, and then we're going to hit create account. Now, what happens next is pretty cool. BlueHost is going to walk you through every step of this process. And so we're going to go to login. Oh no, I didn't save whatever that password was. This is going to be bad. I didn't save the password. Oh my goodness. Now we're going to have to go to forgot password and do this whole thing. This is hilarious. All right, I'm going to hide this for a second, and I'm going to answer somebody's question while I do this because I didn't update LastPass from my other BlueHost account, and now I'm feeling the pain here. All right, hold on. So somebody asked the question, how do you overcome self-doubt? Listen, self-doubt is part of this game. You are somebody said you better change the password later because we all saw it. Yeah, guys, this is just a test account for me. So my password is not a big deal. Don't worry about that part, but I should know it at the very least. Let's just update this. Next. Okay. Now you guys are watching me do this. All right, here we go. Show and stream. We're back. Sorry about that. Okay. Login. Boom. Okay, here we go. Now we're cooking with gas. I'll just add that. I'll delete it later. Now I'm a little nervous about deleting anything. So this is going to take a second. What it is literally doing is setting the site up. And so now it's asking us what we want to do. And so we have 3 options. There's no help needed. I got this. I'll figure it out. This is probably what we're going to do because I'm going to walk you through it. There's a little help, and this is literally step-by-step guidance. It's going to tell you every decision that you're making. It's going to show you how to use WordPress. This is a great option. Then there's built for you. And so this is literally, they will set up a call with you and give you a quote to completely set up and design your site for you. You almost definitely do not need this. You might want to click on this, but we're going to go with no help needed. Okay. And then you're going to see, what are you doing? Are you building a blog? Are you building an online store, a business, or a portfolio? Okay. I would choose blog in this case, just to get you set up. If you choose online store, it's going to get you all set up with something called WooCommerce. And there's a lot going on that, especially when you're new and you don't have a lot of traffic, you don't need a store yet, right? Because you're not going to sell a lot of stuff. And once again, if the primary thing you want to do is sell physical and digital products, my recommendation for you is to be on Shopify. So let's click blog. And we're going to see what kind of blog is it. Well, this is a personal blog. This doesn't matter. This is just going to be what type of resources is it going to show you? Like templates and layouts and whatever. And who am I creating the site for? I'm creating it for me. We're going to hit continue. Now, do I want to add anything else to my site? Do I want to add a resume? Do I want to add a store? I want to add an About Me page. An About Me page is something that every single person should have on your site, whether you're running a blog or a freelance site or a business, right? You want people to have a place to go learn more about you. As odd as it might seem to some people, this is going to be one of your most trafficked pages. People will read 1 or 2 of your blogs. They will look at a couple of your products, and they're going to want to know who you are. And so I like to check this box because BlueHost will actually create a draft page in WordPress for your About Me page. Makes things a lot easier. So then hit continue. And then it's going to ask you, how comfortable are you with building websites? And this is, once again, it's going to determine how much do they help you set your site up. I'm going to say that I know a lot about setting up websites. What do I want to name my site? So my site is named Mortified Mamas. And my site's tagline is Crazy Boys. A house overrun by crazy boys. Okay. And then we're going to continue to theme selection. So theme selection, guys, is exactly what your site will look like. You can customize it. You have a ton of options. And what you see up here is, what do you want? Do you want free themes or premium themes? Premium themes you have to pay for. And I would say for the vast majority of people, especially when you're starting, you don't need that. There are now so many good options for free themes that you can really get going and have a professional looking site from the get-go with a free theme. Now, we're also going to talk about Elementor, which is a free, like a freemium plugin. There's plenty you can do for free with it, but I would recommend doing the upgrade if you're going to upgrade something. To do a ton of site design without being a coder, without having a ton of knowledge about how it works. I'm actually going to show you some of it for setting up a Freelancer site. But what I recommend, you can click through all these pages. This is often where people get overwhelmed because they see there's 727 pages of free themes and they just get overwhelmed. What I would tell you is 2 things. 1, you can change this. Okay. This is not set in stone. You can change your theme at any time. Depending on the type of theme, it might make things a little bit more complicated, but oftentimes, especially when you only have a couple posts up on your site and you're just getting set up, it's as simple as a click as a button. I would recommend 1 of 2 things. I would recommend Astra or Hello Elementor. The reason for that is that both of them work incredibly well with page builders like Elementor. And chances are over time, you're going to want to be able to use something like that to make your site look extra pretty and nice. And so you want something that's not going to screw up all the coding for your site when you add your theme. And so we're going to pick Astra. We're going to click this. We're going to use your theme. Now it's going to say, great work. We're installing WordPress. This can take a couple of seconds. And so, especially because it's setting up a Cloudflare CDN. Oh, that was much faster than I thought. Cool. So maybe we'll just go to launch my site. I was going to answer somebody's question, but we'll go back to this. Okay. So, okay, hold on. Not launch my site. I want to go to WordPress. Don't launch my site. What I really like about what BlueHost does, by the way, is that BlueHost puts your site in a coming soon place. And so you're just working in a test environment as soon as you launch your site. Okay. And so you can do all your design, you can play with things. And so when you go hit log in to your WordPress admin, which is what we're doing right now. I love their little graphics, by the way. You guys can't quite see this. There you got a little guy on a jet. You're going to see a thing at the top that says coming soon enabled. And that means that anything you're doing is being done in a test environment. So don't get nervous about screwing things up. And frankly, even if it was live, nobody's looking for it, right? It's brand new, doesn't appear in Google search. You haven't told anybody about it. Like, don't worry. But currently it says coming soon is active. Okay. So we're going to walk through getting this set up, and we're going to go kind of quickly, and we're going to do the bare bones basic to get you set up. One of the things I want to make sure that you do is first go to posts. Okay. And we are going to make sure that you have a couple of test posts in place. You're going to delete these over time, or maybe you'll update them to have like actual content in them, God forbid. But to be able to see how the style of your site is looking, it's really helpful to have a few posts in place so you can see what it's going to look like. Now, this is going to be a walkthrough of how to use Gutenberg, which is this block editor to build posts. We'll talk about that later. Don't worry about it. So I'm going to put some more text in here. I'm literally just going to copy paste what was already there. Put a little bit more text, okay? I'm going to copy all of it. I'm going to come over here. So I clicked that too fast. So let's just look at this. If you come over and you hit featured image on the side, click select featured image, and you can go to media library, and we don't have anything uploaded yet, right? This is a brand new site. And so what we're going to do is that I already have some blog images all pulled up so that we're ready for this. Look at how prepared we are. All right. So then you're just going to hit update. Okay. Then we're going to go back to WordPress. We're going to create another, post. We're going to call it test post 2. We're going to put in some writing. We are going to select a featured image. We're going to drag and drop. We're going to hit set featured image. We're going to hit publish. Okay, publish. We want to make sure that we know what we're setting up, all right? And so that we can get a good view of what our site actually looks like. So let's add one more. You can see why most people do these by not live and by pre-recorded videos, so that they can edit out doing all this kind of slow stuff. But I want you to see exactly how long this can take to get you set up, because it really isn't going to take as long as you think. If you look at it, we didn't start doing our walkthrough until 8:42, and so it's been 21 minutes. And we even talked about naming for quite a while. And so this isn't actually taking that long so far. I'm going to say that, and then I'm going to break something. You guys watch. All right. So we have those posts. We have our pages. Now let's go over to pages. So see how About Me is drafted? Our About Me page that they set up, by the way, for you is super cute. So this is your About Me. This is just text. It tells you like what to fill in an About Me page. And then like you could have little sections about you and all that kind of stuff. But we're just going to hit publish so that it's there for us. All right. Everybody needs an About Me page. We talked about that. All right. So now we've done all that. Now we're ready to see what our site looks like. And so we're using the Astra theme. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to Appearance, Customize. All right. And what we're going to do when we customize, it's going to show us our homepage. And so guys, we're first going to talk about setting up a blog. We're doing a blog right now. I'll show you a Freelancer site in a few minutes once we get through the blog stuff. But I want to show you what you could customize as a blogger. And I want you to remember that the number one goal is getting started. This is not necessarily going to look like perfect, but it is going to look good. It's going to look like you put some effort into it, and then we're going to move on. Okay. So you can change the global settings. Typography means literally just what font and font size do you want, right? What weight, what's your line height? You can change all that kind of stuff. Mostly I'd leave that alone. All right. You can change your colors. And so let's change our colors for sure here. Okay. This is a little bit trippy because I am looking at my streaming screen instead of my actual screen where this is happening. And so it's a little bit confusing. All right. So the link hover cover, what I would always do for the link hover color is pick whatever the link color is and then just make it a little bit darker so that when you hover over, it stays in like the themed colors, but it's just different. Okay. And so I actually think I want my theme color to be different than the link color. So let's make that coral. Okay. I'm just using Smart Money Mama's colors because it's the only color codes I remember. So we're going to choose some base colors. And then this, you could change a whole bunch of things. You could say, do you want everything to be boxed? In which case it'll box everything in your sidebar. Do you want full width, which just pulls the whole thing across the whole page? Like, do you like this look better? Do you like full width stretched? In which case there's not going to get these margins on the side. What do you like? And so let's say we're going to do full width contained. And then you can change a couple of things. You can say, okay, when you're on a page, like your About Me page, do you want a sidebar or not? And so for this one, we could say, I want full width contained. For blog posts, let's use default and default, okay? So that you actually have this sidebar when you're on a blog post. All right. And then buttons, okay? What happens with the buttons? What are the color? What is all that kind of stuff, right? And so let's just leave this alone. Okay, April says, I'm totally watching this later. So excited. I hope that it's helpful. All right, because I know we're going through a lot, okay? Somebody said their kids are everywhere. That's just life, right, with kids. Good luck, mama. All right, so now we're in the header. So we did the colors. We decided what we wanted for branding colors. If you are wondering about colors, if you're getting stuck on logos and colors, check out Canva. I'm going to drop the Canva link for you in chat. And Lauren, if you could drop our Canva link in Facebook, that would be fantastic. Canva has a bunch of great resources. You can design logos in there. You can design blog images. You can make sure that you are pulling images that you're able to share and use on your blog that have like common rights rules. But they also have some really great blog posts about good color themes that go together, and they'll give you like 4 or 5 colors that work well together. And they have posts that are like 110 different color combinations. And so you can just scroll and pick one that you like. Once again, this isn't set in stone, okay? But we did that. Now we're going to do our header, okay? And so this place is where we're doing our site identity, our site icon, all this thing. So for our logo, let's pick a logo. Test logo. Which one did I want? I think I want this one. Why do I have 2? I don't know. So it's going to tell you to crop it. One thing that it's going to tell you the size that it recommends the image to be. I would double that size. So it says like 180 by 60. I would do 360 by 120 because for things like Retina display on laptops and some HD displays on phones, if it's just the exact right pixel size, it actually comes out blurry, which doesn't make sense, but just double it, okay? So crop image. And now, look at this. Now we got our logo. This still looks a little bit crazy, right? We don't like this. We'll fix it. Don't worry. We're getting there. All right, site icon. See all these pretty little circles up here that are the site that people are on? This is BlueHost, this is ConvertKit, this is Elementor, this is Canva. That is what your site icon is. So you literally need a circle image, and it can just be your initials. It can be a little picture. It can be whatever you want. You can make that in Canva as well. You can select your site icon right here. I don't have one because this is a test site. Now, what I want to say is that I don't want my site title up there if I have my logo. If my logo says the name of my site, I don't need that. So I'm going to hide that. And do I want to display my tagline? So I just put display up there and it goes here. I kind of do at the moment, I think. Okay. So let's leave that. Let's leave that there. Let's go back. Now we're going to talk about primary header. Now this is where it's going to get fun. This is where I like Astra because you can do a lot of customized things. I can hit this button. Okay. And now I have my thing and my tagline. Okay. And I can do all different things. Do I want it full width? It's not going to change anything because it's not that long. All right, here we go. Now I want to change the border size, right? See how this is a little bit thin gray line? What if I said I want it to be size 4? See how it got thicker? And I want it to be a brand color. So you click this button and you can change the brand color. So let's change it to our dark. Ooh, that's our coral. Do we like coral? Let's leave it. All right, so there's coral. Let's go back here and let's turn this tagline off. I don't think that's helpful. Look at this page. Now, if we just published it like it was right now, okay? Primary menu, this is, you don't have to change anything in here, okay? We could hit publish and you could be good to go. Okay, this could be, we're going to change some stuff on your sidebar, but when you're a blogger, and we're going to change this menu, we're going to show you how to change this menu. But when you're a new blogger, there's so much push, right? And so somebody said, is Astra the name of the theme you're using on WordPress? Yes. And by the way, when this video is over and the replay is up, we will change all the links in the description. And so you have all the names and all the links there at your fingertips. There's a lot of push to have your site look absolutely perfect and ready to go. This holds you back from writing. The biggest thing that you can do as a new blogger or a new online business person is start creating content and finding your voice. And so making the site look perfect, I mean, we could go into like Wayback Machine and look at what Mama Fish Saves looked like when I first launched. It was a mess. Like I made my logo in PowerPoint, actually make almost everything in PowerPoint. So that's not really a point, but I made my logo in PowerPoint. I put in a free theme. I think I launched the site in like an hour. It was like an evening snowstorm thing that I was like, I think I want to start a blog. And I put it together and I started writing, and that's fine, right? People are going to care about your writing, you finding your voice, and you will perfect the site over time. So you could be done now, right? We hit publish, you're good to go. Now you might want to change a couple other things, right? So when you come into blog, you might say, what do I want to show here? So you know how this is your homepage. This is going to be your most recent posts will always show up here, just like this. Ultimately, I think after 5 or 6, there'll be like a pages button for multiple pages. But for here, we have leave a comment, uncategorized, who it's by, and you can decide what you want to show. You could say, let's not show this comments thing. Let's not show the category. Let's show the published date so people can see how recently I posted, right? And so that can change all of this stuff. And you can actually turn off all kinds of things, right? And I don't know why this isn't changing at the moment. Maybe if we hit update, it'll change. All right. And so you could change the blog thing. You could change the sidebar. What do you want to, where do you want a sidebar to show? And so we want a right sidebar, and maybe we don't want it on pages. And so we turn it off on pages, which we can show when we go to About Me. And so there's a lot of things you can change in here that most of them are self-explanatory. The last thing I want to note for everybody is that when you go to homepage settings, you have 2 choices. You have your latest posts or a static page. If you choose your latest post, this is what you're going to get, right? You're going to get your most recent posts, and you're going to get your sidebar and your menu. If you choose a static page, you can go create a page in WordPress. Okay. I'm going to click this just for you guys can see. Okay. You can select this, and then you can pick a page. And so you could make your About Me page your homepage. You don't want to do that. But in general, when we talk about Elementor later and setting up a freelancer site, I want to show you how to set up a one-page homepage that gets you what you need, that's going to look better than having recent blog posts. Because if you're a freelancer or a VA, you might not be writing regular blog posts. So it's not really relevant to have people come and see your most recent posts. But for bloggers, let's just hit latest posts, okay? We're going to go back. We're going to hit publish. Now, the next thing I want to show you is two more things, okay? We're going to hit X. We're going to get out of this customizer because we don't need it anymore. And I'm going to show you a couple more things about getting set up. The first is that sidebar we were looking at before with the widgets, okay? That sidebar that has everything in it, those things are called widgets. And some of them that are automatically put in there, you don't really want. The first one that I want to make sure you absolutely take out is the meta. I'm clicking on the wrong screen again. Delete the meta part. This is a place that you can get, there's like some hackers, like back end stuff. People used to be able to get into it, and it's not actually helpful to anyone who's watching your site. And so you can delete that. I would always leave the search bar. You can leave recent posts if you want, but this is all customized, right? And so you can delete these widgets and add whatever you want. Now, there's one widget that I really like that you have to add by plugin. And so I'm going to show you, this is a free plugin. And here's what we're going to do, okay? So over here, you're going to see something called plugins. WordPress is a free open source site, okay? And so there's all kinds of different coded add-ons to make the site work better or differently or look a certain way. There's all different kinds of add-ons that are coded by people who either have free or premium versions of these things. Some of them come auto-installed. Some of them that come auto-installed, you do not need and slow your site down. Isn't that fun? One of those would be Hello Dolly. This is super strange. I don't know where this came from. This is a thing that you can turn on, and every time you log in, you will get a Dolly Parton quote. I don't know why. Just delete it. Okay. You need to keep BlueHost. Constant Contact is BlueHost's email service provider. And so the most valuable thing you have as an online business owner, I don't care what kind of online business you have, blog, podcast, e-commerce site, whatever, the most valuable thing you have is your email list. And so Constant Contact is a way to build an email list. It's pretty good. What I would recommend for pretty much everyone who's new is ConvertKit. What you'll hear people recommend are MailerLite and MailChimp. They're both fine, but they don't have the ability to grow with you that ConvertKit does. And what ConvertKit has, they added it last year, is that you get a free plan up to 1,000 subscribers. You don't have to put in a credit card. You can cancel anytime, and you get to do things like tag your subscribers, right? So if they register for your site, on a page that is about entrepreneurship, you could tag them for entrepreneurship. If they sign in, if they register for your site, for your newsletter on a page about meal planning, you can tag them for meal planning. And this is really good for you to understand your audience and to send them articles and things that are relevant to them. This is going to be even more important as you grow. And if you can start at the beginning by having that tagging and building that email list from the get-go, this is what I would absolutely do, is go with ConvertKit. And so let me just drop the link to ConvertKit for you guys here. Lauren will do it in Facebook for us because she's amazing. Okay, she already did it on Facebook. She's faster than me. Okay, so I would use ConvertKit. And so for me, I would recommend, where did my thing go? I would just deactivate Constant Contact and delete it because you don't need it. And then the last thing that I want to delete, I know we were talking about adding a widget plugin, but I want to show you all this, is Jetpack. Jetpack is a really heavy plugin. It can slow down your site speed. It does a lot of things you probably don't need. And for that case, I would just deactivate it and delete it. If you leave it in place, taking it off can cause issues in the future. You just have to do it properly. So doing it at the beginning is the best thing. But so now we want to add a plugin for something very specific, and I'm going to show you what it is. You're going to hit this Add New button at the top. You're going to search for something called Meks Smart Author Widget. Okay, I'm going to post this right in the comments here for you guys to see the name. And what this is, you're going to install. It's completely free. This is another thing I want to tell you about plugins. If you're adding a plugin, I want you to see at least 10,000 active installations, because you want to make sure, even though this doesn't have a lot of reviews, a lot of people are using it. And that means that it's less likely to be buggy. It's less likely to have security issues. And so you want to make sure that you have at least 10,000 activations and that it's compatible with your version of WordPress. Those are the two things anytime you're adding a plugin you want to pay attention to. So we're going to hit install now. And so what this does is when someone comes to your website, no matter what you do, I want them to know who you are, okay, right when they get there and what your site is about. And so if you went and looked at the widgets that we had before, it wasn't clear what your site was about when you got there, okay? Somebody just asked what the name was again. It's Meks Smart Author Widget, and I think Lauren just dropped it for everybody. Okay, so when you come back in, you can add Meks Smart Author Widget right to your sidebar, and you can say, "Hi, I'm Chelsea." Okay, and then you can say, don't display the author name because I already said, "Hey, I'm Chelsea." It is going to choose the author description. Okay, and so what that means is in your user account, you have a place to put your bio, and it's going to pull that automatically. And then you can do a really fun thing. You can override the author URL link. And so you could write, "Find out more about me." And then you could choose your About Me page. Okay, so let's go to all pages, view. Let's grab this URL. So this is the URL for our About Me page. When the site is live, and not in this weird staging site. This will just be like mortifiedmamas.com/about-me. And BlueHost will automatically change all that over when it takes you out of staging. But for right now, this link looks crazy. Don't worry, you won't have to come and update these links later. Okay, so then you hit save. I'm going to show you what this looks like. Don't you worry. Everybody, don't you worry. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. Then I'm going to go over to my profile and my biographical info, right? So I'm going to just write some stuff here. This is fun. This is like such a stress relief. And I'm going to hit update profile. Okay. And so now, look at how beautiful this is. Are you ready? You guys ready for this? We're going to hit visit site. And now there's a picture of me. Hi, I'm Chelsea. I can tell people about the site and I can tell them to come hang out with us, right? Come find out more about me. And as soon as they land on the site, it's right here. The search bar is right here. We're ready to go. Now, and then it could put your recent posts. You can put anything else you want in here. You could put photos that have links. And we could do all kinds. So you could do an image, okay? And you could say the title of this image is like category 1, whatever your first category is called. Tantrums in grocery stores. I don't know. Motivated Mamas is our, or Mortified Mamas is our site, right? And so then we could pick an image, and I don't know what that would be, but it maybe feel like you're on a whatever. And then you could put a link, right? And so you could link straight to that categories page, which will automatically be created when we create categories. And then when you hit save, okay, we go back over here. Now you have tantrums in grocery stores, and this is a linked image. Someone could click and go to the section about tantrums in grocery stores, okay? So that's easy to set up. The last thing that I want to show you is categories, okay? So categories. Guys, we're going to do this in like less than 45 minutes, all right? Part of when you have a blog, you're going to talk about multiple things, right? We're going to talk about different categories. So let's say you went to Smart Money Mamas, okay? We have Smart Money, Make Money, Mama Life, and then these are our big guides. And each of our categories has subcategories, okay? The reason to do this is because you want to make your site easy to navigate for people who are coming to find things. And by organizing it by category, it's easy for people to figure out what they're looking for. It's also better for search engine optimization, or SEO, which is how easy it is for Google to figure out what your site is all about. And so they care about all your category names. They care about where indexed you and all that kind of stuff. And so what I would recommend is that I know when you're a new blogger, your inclination is like, well, I want to talk about everything. I have 43 categories and I want to talk about my whole life. And maybe that's fine. But I would narrow down to like 3, maybe 4 broad categories of what you're going to talk about. And hopefully those things in some way intertwine, right? There's a connection point. And so what I want you to do is name them, right? And so we could do tantrums, and the slug for that is going to be tantrums. We could do, what are some other things we could do about mortified mamas? We could do sleeplessness. Is that a word? I don't know. Sleepless. We could do picky eaters. Picky eaters. We could do siblings. I'm really struggling with this category at the moment. Okay, so now we have these categories. And so what we could do with these categories is we can put them right at the top of our site, right? And so we have this situation. And so we could do one of two things. If we go to appearance, we go to menus, okay? We have to create our first menu. Menu name, primary menu, okay? Hit create menu. And now what we can do is we can decide what we want on the top of that page, right? And so we're going to definitely want the About Me page on there. We're definitely going to want all of these categories on there. It's very spinny because, okay, so now we have all of our categories and we could put About Me, and now we could hit Save Menu. And actually we want to make sure that this says it's our primary menu. Okay, so we're going to hit Save Menu as our primary menu. All right, so now when we go back here and we hit refresh, now we've got picky eaters, siblings, sleeplessness, tantrums, and About Me. I would say Your site is done now. You have to go write your About Me page. Don't overthink it. You have to, ideally set up some kind of privacy policy page. You're going to see one in Pages automatically because it's just a good practice, especially if you're collecting emails. But they will have a draft of this in here. And so you can just change in your information. This is going to give you suggestions. One thing to keep in mind is you can go look at other established bloggers. A lot of this is standard language and just see what they've had written and kind of copy that over. Okay. And then hit publish, and then make sure that the privacy policy is linked in the footer of your site. And then the last thing I might add is once you get set up with a ConvertKit, and this is easy, this is create a free account, right? There's going to be a way to very simply create what they call an email opt-in form, which is just going to say like, hey, get our weekly newsletter. Ultimately, you might want to offer some kind of free resource or something that gets people to want to join your email list because you want to grow that list. That's really core to building your business. But at first, especially the first couple months, you're just going to write like, want our weekly updates or want to get on our weekly newsletter, and then ask them to put in their email and hit submit. And so when you do that, you're going to get a little piece of HTML code. It's going to look all crazy. Don't worry about it. There'll be a button in ConvertKit that says like copy all code. Then you're going to come over to widgets. All right. You guys are following me on this? And you're going to hit custom HTML and drag it in. And then you're just going to paste that newsletter thing from ConvertKit, and it'll pull the whole form in there for you. And then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay. But other than that, once you reach this point, once you've filled out your About Me page a little bit, maybe you've changed these pictures to be pictures of you or you and your family, then you can start writing. Then you can go into this post and like, let's look at this for a second, okay? So this is what a post looks like. A place to leave a comment. We've got our brand colors here, all these kind of things, okay? And so all you have to do to write a post, so we're going to hit edit post. If you guys have questions about any of this that I'm going over, I know we're going super fast. Drop them in the comments because we're going to move over to talking about a freelancer site in a minute, and then I'm going to open up for Q&A. But if anyone has questions about anything I've done about Blogger setup so far, let me know, okay? All right, this is a newer WordPress editor that's called Gutenberg, and they switched to doing what they call blocks. And if you've ever used WordPress in the past, it's going to look a little funky because that's not what you're used to seeing. Blocks are different. I could actually, here, hold on. Lauren, where do we have like a blog that's actually written in WordPress? We do everything in Elementor, guys, so it's kind of hard to always find what I'm looking for. Here. I think this one was written in actual WordPress. So this is what it used to look like. Okay, so you had this like filling things out form. And that's not what it looks like anymore. Now it looks like this. And so the reason blocks is actually great is that you have way more ability to customize things without things like a page builder, without Elementor. It's not quite as powerful, but you can move things around really easily. And so this is actually a block, right? This paragraph, see how it gets outlined when I hover over it? This whole thing is a block and I can move it around. So when I'm ready, I can insert before, insert after. So I'm going to hit insert after. And now I can hit this plus button, hit add block, and I can decide what I want. Do I want a heading? Do I want an image? Do I want a list? And any of these things are going to be formatted differently. But what's cool about the blocks is you can set, here, let's do heading. And let's say our heading is, I don't know, something about picky eaters. My kids never eat dinner. This is not true about my kids, by the way. They're crazy in their own ways, but they're actually pretty good about dinner and throwing tantrums and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so we're in this block, right? We're in this heading block. But over here, you can customize it, okay? You can change what size you want it to be. You can change the color setting. So maybe I say, I want the background color to be our main brand color, and I want the text color to be white, okay? And I want, however this looks, right? And then I can add another block and say, now I'm ready for my paragraph. I'm going to put some stuff around here. And then I'm going to add another heading. This is going to be an H3 heading, feeding them chicken nuggets. And because this is an H2, this is a main heading, and this is an H3, this is a secondary heading, maybe this one has a different color. Maybe this one is our coral color, like this, okay? And then we hit our text block. And this is all you're doing, right? Obviously, you're not pasting the same things, but you're designing this. You're setting, what your image is, and then you can hit preview. So, and it lets you preview in all the different formats. And also remember, as you're building your site, that the vast majority of the people will likely view it on mobile. And so always also preview in mobile. But for the case right now, we're just going to hit preview in desktop. And so now look at this. Isn't this cute? Now we have like these headings, everything's broken up. And so when you're writing a post, it's really easy. Just hit that plus sign, decide if you want an image, decide if you want columns, decide if you want a detailed list. What I want you to remember is that white space is a good thing and that walls of text are very overwhelming for people. Very, very overwhelming. A page that looks like this with short paragraphs and colored headings that people can skim and scroll through really easily, and that has pictures. Obviously, we didn't add pictures here. That is going to get people to stay longer and actually read more than if you just had a page of text and if you had super long paragraphs, okay? And so the shorter your sentences, the shorter your paragraphs, the more clear and concise you can be, and the more you can break things up on the eye. I mean, think about how you read any site. Go think about how you read Smart Money Mamas, right? And mostly people are scrolling. We're distracted. Kids are talking to us. And so we're going to break that down, right? But once you get this kind of basic setup that we have right here, start writing. That's your goal. Start writing, okay? This is it. This is what it takes to set up a BlueHost site. Now, I'm going to wait and see if anyone has any comments here for a second. And then I'm going to show you what I want you to do with a freelancer site, because that's a little bit different. And I want to show you what your options are. And but for the people who have a blog, I want you to stick around because I'm going to show what Elementor looks like. Elementor is a free plugin or a paid upgrade. So there's like a free version that's good. It's really helpful. But there's a premium version. And if I was going to buy something for my website, I would buy Elementor. I use it constantly. Much of the Smart Money Mama's site, much of our content is built in Elementor, and I love it. And so I want everybody to know how it works exactly. Okay. And actually, I always want to tell you guys one more thing. So I'm going to tell you one more thing. There are ranges of setting up a site. This site actually looks really, really kind of cute. I like it. It's very simple. It's easy to follow. Somebody says, is there a minimum recommendation for the info in each header? No, not really. I mean, if you had these big black colors like we do in Test Post 3, which is a super great name, by the way, which of course I didn't publish, and so now you can't see it. If you had these big, thick headers, I would make sure that you had at least like 2 or 3 like short paragraphs, just because otherwise these colors are going to be too close together. But you don't actually need these colors. Like you could just say that there's no background color and that the text is black, and then you only need maybe 1 short paragraph, maybe like something like insert after heading 3. Clearly, we're all good. I'm trying to go fast. But this is plenty, right? Like this looks fine. This looks like a list, except for the crazy text. It doesn't need to be a lot. I would just make sure like you're watching what does your eye see and what does it look on different platforms. Because sometimes like this paragraph might look short for a whole heading section for you. But when you preview it on mobile, you're like, oh, this is actually like, half a phone screen size, more than half a phone screen size. And so I want people to make sure that they're seeing a heading at least one every phone screen. And so I'm going to make sure that there's something there. There's a picture or a heading. Just preview it in different ways. But the last thing I want to tell you, so I was telling you before was there's different ranges of sites. This is what we just set up was completely free after our hosting, right? We paid for BlueHost. I did a 12-month plan, so it was $5 a month. And now we're good to go, right? And so this site looks good. It's clean. It's simple. Then there are sites that get custom designed for thousands of dollars, right? And so my buddies at Dollar Sprout, me show you these guys' site, okay? My buddy's a dollar spout, paid a lot of money to have this site designed, okay? With these special pop-ups and all these little like colored designs and whatever. This is a custom design site for them, okay? And so there's like the two ends of the spectrum. There's completely free, there's super, super expensive. Then there's a ton of stuff in the middle, okay? About a year and a half into the site, Smart Money Mama site, I paid someone about $500 to do a Genesis theme, a Genesis customized theme for Mama Fish Saves back when it was Mama Fish Saves. And it was good. It was great. I liked it. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. And so when you go to Smart Money Mamas, where did Smart Money Mamas go, by the way? If you go to Smart Money Mamas, that's our Shopify shop. If you go to Smart Money Mamas, this entire site, this whole design, this was $129. This is a theme called My Delight. It's this theme right here that's highly customizable. You can change the colors. There's all different types of what we call short codes, right? To change all these different things. You can set up different whatever. And so this is $130. And that is what all of Smart Money Mamas is built on. If you go to Mamas Talk Money, that entire thing is free. I built Mamas Talk Money with Elementor for free. Okay, well, I had Elementor Pro. So Elementor Pro is $49 a year. But in general, other than Elementor, it's the back end of Mamas Talk Money is a free theme. And so there's a lot of different things you can do. And so if you're willing to invest a little money, if you get 6 months in and you decide that you want something like this, you want a little bit customized theme that has a little bit more ability to have this kind of homepage design, you could do My Delight. And I can actually drop the link for that too. One second. You could do My Delight. You could pay for upgraded Elementor. Okay. You could pay for, some other tools, but you don't need them at the beginning. And that's what I want you to keep remembering. I'm dropping Elementor for you guys too, so that you know that you have it. Okay. So there's a range of options, but this is all you need to get started. Is this, it looks good. It looks simple. It looks clean. Okay. Now, if you are a freelancer or a VA and you just want to be able to get clients, what I want you to do is to build that static homepage. So remember before when I was saying you could have your most recent blog posts or you could have a static homepage? With a freelancer site, I want you to have a static homepage. You don't need categories. You don't need any of that stuff. Okay. Somebody says Lauren needs a raise. Lauren is amazing. She's just dropping stuff super fast. Okay. What you need is a homepage that's easy to follow. All right. Ignore this thing for a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to add new plugin. We're going to add a new plugin. We're going to hit up. Oh, we don't need to upload plugin. Actually, we can just search for Elementor. And see this 5+ million up installations. That sounds good. Compatible with your version of WordPress, you got it. Now you're going to see all these other things that say Elementor. Elementor has a whole bunch of different like little companies that add different widgets to Elementor to do fancy things. We're not going to worry about that right now, but that's what these things are. They're not page builders in themselves. They're just add-ons to Elementor. But let's hit add Elementor. We're going to hit activate because we want to actually use the page. Okay. And now we're going to do a really cool thing. First of all, they have amazing tutorials. Elementor has incredible tutorials. I really like their company. They're fantastic. And so we're going to click out of that though, because we don't need it. You might need it later, but we don't need it right now. We're going to go pages, add new page. And we're going to do Freelancer homepage. That's what we're naming this. Okay. And we're going to say that we want this to be a full width stretched page, right? So we want Elementor to be editing the whole page, which is why you say full width stretched. If we said, if we went up and did, I'll show you, hold on. Let's just look at this. Just hit publish and then hit edit with Elementor. Okay. We're going into Elementor. Now, instead of editing in the Gutenberg blocks, we're editing our page in Elementor. And so when you look at this page right now, we have the header and we have the footer that we had before. just fine. If you didn't want that, if you wanted a complete blank page, Elementor calls that a canvas. And so you're going to go to settings and you're going to change the page layout to Elementor canvas. We want full width. This is good. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Let's say you want a freelancer site. You want someone to land on your page and feel like you are professional and you add good resources and that you can help their company. Okay. You can do this in minutes. And so let's do it. Let's get this set up. These are sections. How many columns do you want in your section? What's the section structure? For this one, we're just going to say we want a full width section. All right. If we click here, yes, I know I can right click. Thank you, Elementor. If I click this, I can set how wide I want it to be. So for this one, I want it to be kind of narrow. So I'm going to say it's 800. And you see how this thing got shorter? And I'm going to do something kind of interesting. I'm going to take a heading. I'm going to put it in the center. And I'm going to say copywriting that speaks to your customers and gets you sales. Then we're going to do a text editor underneath. We're going to center that nonsense. Of course, it doesn't want to let me do that and says like, you've built your community. Let me help you get the products they need in their hands. Okay, whatever. I'm just making up copy right now for a fake business. So everybody just, we're going to go with that copy. I've clicked this whole section. Okay. We are literally doing drag and drop website building here, guys, right now. This is going to be, it's going to blow your mind. Okay. You're going to click this whole section. We're going to hit background type under style. We're going to hit background type. We're going to hit this little button. We're going to click image. And now we have all these images, right? Let's click some sparklers. I like some sparklers. Okay. Then we're going to click the column. And in the column, we're going to hit the background editor again, but we're going to make the background white. And then we're going to make it a little bit transparent. Okay. Maybe that much transparent. I think that's good. All right. Now click the full width thing again. Go to advanced. You guys are advanced now. Okay. This is very advanced. Unlock this and then hit some padding. All right. And so this is just literally adding padding in your section. It's how much room they're giving the section before they actually put content, right? So we put 20 pixels above, 20 pixels below. Let's maybe make that a little bit more. So that's 35 and 35. We're going to change this to be a different color. People can actually see, God forbid. We're going to make this darker. Lauren is probably over there like, Chelsea, you're going way too deep here, too fast. But that's what I do. I believe in you guys. You guys can handle this. I'm going to change the size of the font. Okay. Bam. I am going to add some padding to this whole section. Except for the bottom because, oh my goodness, these text boxes love to put like extra padding at the bottom and I never understand why. But you can put negative margin in. So I'm going to put negative 25. Now it looks a little bit more square. Okay. Then we're going to add a next section. And this section is going to be, Lauren, I would never. Lauren loves me. All right. Now we're going to add a new section, full column, and we're going to go duplicate. We right clicked and hit duplicate. Now we're dragging this down. How can I help you? Or we'll just do how can I help you? I don't know why I'm overcomplicating this. Then there's a cool thing called intersection. Somebody's saying I'm doing the replay later for sure. I am trying to make this, guys, easy for everybody to follow in the future. I'm not expecting you to follow this all at once. I want you to be able to revisit and come back. But let me hide myself for a second so you can see what I'm doing. I was muted because I didn't just hit stop video. Okay, so you guys missed all of this. All I was saying is you put an image in, put a header in, put the text in, and then just right click and hit duplicate, and then change the image so that everything looks the same. Somebody says I can only hear the voice in my head. Oh my God. So you duplicated these columns so they all look good and they have all three of the things that you offer, the services you offer. Then we add a button and we hit large. Maybe we want a big button. We hit center. Learn more about our services, right? And then you could link to a page from this button that's like your service page, right? If you have a portfolio page or a package and rate page, this would be a good place to start, okay? So then you can add another section. Maybe this is a 2-column section. We make the background color something, I don't know, whatever you want it to be. And then you add like a picture. I'm doing this for a reason, guys. I want you to make sure that you know how quickly you can do this. And I know we've talked about a lot today, and I know we want to make room for questions. And so I promise you, I will wrap this up in just a second. But I want you to know what you can do. Hi, I'm Chelsea. All right. And so maybe I make this white. I'd copy some text, duplicate. Oh my God, it doesn't want to drop. I hate when this happens. Okay, there we go. It dropped. I'm going to make this narrower, by the way. Anybody think I have perfectionist tendencies? I would go with yes. All right, so we're going to make this white. All right, we're going to add some padding. Guys, white space and blank space is a good thing. We always want to make sure that there's some breathing room on our sites, okay? Then you can add another button, duplicate. The button does not have to be green, by the way, guys. The button, we can change the colors of this button. Here, see more of my work. And maybe link to your portfolio page here. And so for this, you could go to the color and you could say the background color is going to be pink and the outline color is going to be white. And now you've got this button, okay, that looks more like it fits on your page. Okay. And then I think Lauren is putting the zipped lips about me saying I'm a perfectionist. Okay. And so now we're going to do one last thing because I want you to see that you can do this with Elementor. And this is really important if you have a VA business or if you have any kind of freelancer business. And so you can put a testimonial. And this is all with free Elementor. There's bigger things you can do for bloggers with paid Elementor. And I want you to know that this is what you can do with free Elementor. And so you can put another testimonial here and make sure that you have what you need. Okay. So you can put some more spacing. You can make it pretty. You could have some padding top and bottom. All right. But now look at this. Let's say if we go to preview, this is going to pull up a preview. Okay. Look at this site. We just designed this in the last 10 minutes, okay? This is your homepage. This tells you people land on your site and it's like, boom, this is what I do as a copywriter. Boom, these are my services and how you can, the different ways you can hire me. Boom, this is who I am and you can see my portfolio and more of my work. And this is a testimony about who I am. Everything they need for a freelancer, for a VA is on this site. You look super professional. You look like you've got your act together, even if you started this yesterday. Okay. And so when we talk about a VA site, I have a couple, hold on, I'm gonna put my video back on. You don't need a ton of different, okay, we're flipping all around here. You don't need a ton of different pages. You don't need these category sections, right? What you should have up here as a freelancer is about me, which can also be your portfolio and a portfolio page, or those can be the same. The about me could just be the top of the page, and then you could have your portfolio and testimonials below if you want to just have fewer pages. About me, portfolio, you might want to have a page of your packages and your rates. So if you have certain set things you do, like, hey, I will do a month of social media management with 4 Instagram posts a week for this price, maybe put that on your site. It makes it really easy for people to know if they can afford you, and then they only reach out with offers that are real and that fit you. That might not work for freelance writing, partially because there's a wide range of what people get paid for freelancing, and you don't want to undersell yourself, especially because a lot of bigger sites pay like a standard rate. And so if you go in and say like, hey, I charge $120 a post, well, they might pay $250, and you don't want to tell them necessarily like, hey, I charge $120. And so depending on what you want your packages and rates, and then you want a contact me page. You want an easy and quick way for them to get a hold of you. And so this can be your email address, but I really recommend it be a contact form. And when you set up your site with BlueHost, you already have a plugin called WP Forms, or you're supposed to, unless I accidentally deleted it. Bump, where is it? It was here before. Okay, well, hold on. I can show you something else. We'll do it over here. There's a thing called form in Elementor. And so you can make a contact me page. Here, let's just do it over here. Let's create a new page, add new. Contact me. Save draft. Do it with Elementor. Somebody says white space and breathing reminds me of my yearbook days in junior high. Okay. So on this contact me page, you might want a heading. You might want to say, I'd love to work with you. And then you might want to add some text, tell them like, you know, I'm willing to set up a phone call or whatever you're willing to do or not willing to do, or whatever. What I do recommend is even before you put the form, please fill out the contact form below to get in touch with me, or email me at Chelsea, well, pick your own email, at smartmoneymamas.com. If you put this at symbol, it makes it slightly harder for spammy people to scrub your site for your email. They'll still do it, but it does put a little bit of a block in. And for people who don't want to fill out those contact forms and feel like they go into a black hole, which sometimes they can, it makes sure that they have an alternate way to get a hold of you quickly and easily. So, you know, here's your contact page. I'm making it narrower because perfectionist thing again. Now I'm in Elementor and I hit form. I drop it in here. Okay, so this is a pro add-in, honestly. So I can't actually drag it in. But this is how can I show you how to do this? When you drag this in, it's going to give you a bunch of different options, one of which is like email me when this form gets filled out with the form detail. If you're using Elementor. If you're not using Elementor, there's a bunch of free plugins that let you make forms, one of which is Typeform. And you can set up forms. There actually is a free, it's called WP Forms, that comes with BlueHost, but I must have accidentally deleted it, honestly. So Freelancer site, about me, portfolio, package and rates, and your contact me page. That is it. Your entire site forever, even as you grow, unless you decide that you're going to like sell products for other freelancers or sell products to clients who aren't ready to hire you in full yet, like maybe templates. That's it. 4 pages and you're good to go. For a blogger, I want you to have your about me page, your privacy policy, your contact page, and a couple of categories. And then you just start writing. Do not overcomplicate this. Really, you just need to get started. And so somebody asked way early in the beginning, and I know we've been live for an hour and a half now, and that I have sent information at you out of a fire hose, right? But what I want you to know is that there's so many roadblocks to just getting started that you can always fix whatever you start with. And there's going to be, no matter how good you are, no matter how much research you do, no matter how much you bellyache about whether I'm ready and do I have the skills and will someone pay me and am I a good writer, no matter how much research you do before you start, your first couple of months are going to suck. And like, I say that in a way to try to be liberating of like, we're new to this. This is a new thing. You're a new business owner. You're a new writer. You're a new virtual assistant. And everyone expects your beginning to be a little stumbly, and that's fine. And by it's going to be terrible or it's going to be sucky, I mean, compared to 6 months from now when you look back. I don't mean it'll actually be terrible. I don't mean anyone will actually judge you or make negative comments. What I'm saying is, no matter when you start, you will look back at some point and think that your beginning was sucky. And so you're better off getting those like first pancakes for our Gilmore Girls fans, your first pancake out of the way. Like, just start writing. And so somebody asked about imposter syndrome and all of these things. No one has lived your story. No one has your set of skills or your unique superpowers. And I know that that sounds a little bit crazy, but somebody somebody's like, it's step one, fire up the computer. It really is. And I want you to remember that, some people are like, how do you know if a niche is oversaturated? So this was a question we got before the live. Somebody commented and said, how do you know if a niche is oversaturated? I don't think there's necessarily a way of a niche to be oversaturated. I think it can get harder to grow. But one of the reasons that blogs and influencers and all of these things have grown so much is because people want to hear from people who have experiences like them, who they connect with, who they share values with. And so because you have your own unique perspective, people who resonate with you will always be looking for somebody who is like you. And so don't necessarily follow a whole bunch of other people and try to do what they do. Just try to be yourself. And I recognize that that's really hard to do at the beginning, and that we all get in the comparison trap. We all want to be perfect. We all want to have the success that our idols have, and it will come if you stick to it. But the more you can speak in your own voice, the better you are. And so let me give you an example. I posted today on YouTube and in the Mamas Talk Money community a rant I did about why I'm not a frugal person and why I think frugality can hold people back, why I think it goes too far. And 2 years ago, I would never have posted that video. I would have thought those things, but I would not have posted that video, because when I looked around the personal finance community, what I saw was so many people holding up how good of a thing frugality is. And it can be. Parts of it can be, right? But for me, that's never been my perspective. I've never associated as a frugal person. I will pay for quality and value and help and support. I want to support companies that I love, even if it means I spend a little bit more money. And so frugality, it never really aligned with who I am. But for a while, I didn't talk about it. But now I realize, that the more I talk about those things that might put off some people, but speak to the hearts of my true people, of my true mamas, the better my business will be, and the better I will be able to show up for those people. If you're not being your true self for your audience, they will be able to tell, and it will impact how much they trust you. And so show up as yourself, start writing. You'll figure out all the little pieces along the way. So last thing, in case anybody else has any questions, somebody says, just taught my mom how to use a cell phone. She was afraid of turning one on. That can happen. I'm not going to tell a family story because it's someone who prefers that they not be mentioned on the blog, but I have a tech story about someone who's very afraid of technology. Okay, so here we go. Last things. Everything we did tonight, getting up on BlueHost, we've been live for an hour and a half, and we set up a blog and we set up a freelancer site in an hour and a half. Do not tell me that you've been working on your blog for 2 months and you can't get it launched. Get that thing out the door. Start sharing your posts. Start getting feedback. Reach out to your friends and loved ones. Reach out to people in the Mamas Talk Money group. We're going to be doing Women-Owned Wednesdays. Share your first blog posts. Get feedback. That early feedback is how you decide what's connecting with people and what's not, right? So keep getting out there. What we did was just paid for BlueHost. Everything else was free. If you want to invest in your business, there are some core ways to do it. First off, I would tell you, in most cases, you don't need a course in the first 6 months. You just don't. I know there's so many good ones. I know people love them, but your number one priority the first 6 months as a blogger is to write. That's all I want you to do, is to write and practice and write. If you're going to do podcasting, podcast. If you're going to do YouTube, get on YouTube. But whatever it is, practice your craft. After that, look at courses. There's a lot of really amazing ones, okay? Just get started. If you want to invest in your business and try to make things a little bit better, Elementor Pro is $49 a year. We're not talking big money here on anything. The My Delight theme that we use on Smart Money Mamas and that I really enjoy, that has good page speed and is easy to use, that is $129 for both the theme and the system that the sorry. and the system that the theme runs on. Whew. So you're actually going to download like 2 themes. They'll both get uploaded and they'll run together. It's really easy once you're doing it. That's $129. There's a tool called Canva, which we talked about, which is like a design. That's free and it's pretty powerful free. But oh my gosh, hold on. I got something stuck in my throat. Canva is $12.95 a month, and Canva Pro unlocks a lot more images and templates and things that you can use, which is fantastic. But it also lets you upload your own fonts. So if you have your own brand fonts, your own brand colors, you can set all those things, and then it's really easy to make blog images like Pinterest images and Facebook images and Instagram images and kind of keep them in brand. And so I like that. That's $12.95 a month or $119 a year. Oh my God, I'm going to stop this, I swear. And then the last thing I'd consider is a tool called Social Warfare. That has a free version that's pretty good. Their paid version is $29 a year. And so even if you bought all of those 4 or 5 things that I just listed, you're talking less than $300. And when you talk about you're starting a business, that's not a ton of money. But if you wanted to prioritize those kind of the core things that I would buy, and then I'd look at a course around 6 months. I'd look at like, what am I struggling with the most? Do I need help with storytelling? Do I need help with building my email list? In which case, absolutely go to Amy Porterfield. With List Builder Society, you can go to StoryBrand with Don Miller if you're struggling with storytelling. Do you want to make your first digital product? There's a lot of different people you could check out about that. And so then try to find a course that for wherever you're struggling at 6 months in, okay? But that's it. That's getting started. And with the VA site, with a freelancer site, it's even easier than that, right? So you can set up those couple of pages with just Elementor free, and you don't need anything else, like ever. Like you don't never need anything else for your site. All you need to do is go find clients. And so that can mean hanging out in Facebook groups. That can mean reaching out to people on LinkedIn. That could mean building relationships with the type of clients that you want to have and reaching out to them, okay? You guys can do this. You can set aside a couple of hours on Saturday night, watch this video, and set up your site and publish your first post the next day. This is not something that I want you to sit on, because the best is, it's like investing. It's like anything else. The best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is today. And so, or next best, the best time was 10 years ago, but the next best time is today. So get started. You can do this. We've covered a lot of ground. I'll put the links in the description to this video. If you have things you want us to do videos on in the future to help set up other things, drop them in the comments. Let us know what your questions are. But I'm here. I want to see your sites. I want to see what you build. I want to see the businesses that you have. And I really want to see you do things that you're passionate about. One of the coolest things about online business is that it is such an easy, low dollar lift to get started. And you can do things that you really love, and you can connect with people that are super niche. Maybe there's not people in your community that want to buy dog bow ties, but maybe there are across the country, right? Whatever it is, being online lets you find whatever that passion audience is. And so I can't wait to see what you do. I hope this was helpful, and I'll be watching for questions on this post. Just let me know what you need. Go get started, start writing, start podcasting, start blogging, start pitching clients for your freelance business. You've got